Can you reverse engineer your competitors' stuff? Hi, my name is Derek Fahey. I'm a registered patent attorney and trademark attorney with the Plus IP firm, and we're going to go through what you can and cannot do related to reverse engineering. There's some things you can do and some things you cannot do. You need to be careful so you can minimize your legal risks. So, let's talk about first off what I think you should do off the jump. If you see a competitor's product that you really like and you say, hey, you know what, I want to compete with them, the first thing you should think about doing is doing what's called a freedom to operate search that identifies if there's any patents on the product that you know about to see if you could be potentially infringing on any patents. That's the first thing. You could definitely hire a law firm to help you do that. What you can also do is go to their website, snoop around, look at the product itself to see if there's something that you can find that points to a particular patent number, whether it's a design patent or utility patent. That's the first thing I think you should be thinking about doing. The second thing I think you should be thinking about doing is thinking about what you're doing, right? Now, first off, the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court has held that reverse engineering, if it's done in a fair and non-nefarious way, is allowable. So you can actually do that. You can actually, um, exploit trade secrets that are embedded in the product if you do it in a non-nefarious way, and if you actually do it independently. And what do I mean by that? So many times reverse engineering comes about for if you want to understand a trade secret that's behind it. Maybe it's a secret formula. If you purchase a product like a some sort of formulation, some sort of medical formulation, or anything like that, you can actually take the product, and if it's a physical product, you can, or a chemical product, you can actually try to recreate it via reverse engineering. If it's an electrical product, maybe you want to add sensors onto it, on top of it, and try to determine how it works in order to find what you're looking to find. That's assuming it's not covered by patent law. However, there are some issues that you need to be careful about. The first one really is related to the biggest one is really related to copyright law and the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Now, what that says is, if, for example, if there's firmware that's on a particular product that has the software code embedded into that firmware. Firmware is like software that's on a board that tells a particular device what to do and how to do it. Those particular instructions, they actually be protected by some sort of technological means. And if it is protected by some sort of technological means, if you try to jailbreak those means, you could have an issue. Now, what does that mean? If you get a product and you want to understand how it works and you want to use that information, if there's some sort of code that you actually need to get to, and you have to bypass or circumvent, if you circumvent that to get that information, that's not okay. If you're going to take that information and then create the new product, that's jailbreaking a product to specifically get the information from it and use it directly to actually, to actually compete against the product. In other words, getting the trade secret from that, maybe it's a special, predetermined level or something like that, that actually is considered an issue. You could actually run afoul to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. In fact, the act actually has a specific regulation or a specific section that limits what you're doing to, it's actually section 11201F, is related to, it was related to reverse engineering. So if you're doing just that, that could be a problem. Now, however, the courts have held, and there's actually exceptions to that, where you can actually reverse engineer in order to, you can actually break or get past the technical restrictions, and the thing, you can actually jailbreak it in order to understand the functional features of something in order to make another product compatible with that particular product. The landmark case, one of the landmark cases behind that comes from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, Sega Enterprises versus Accolade. Essentially, the defendant in that case actually jailbreaked the code behind that information in order to get access to that Sega Genesis platform in order to make games that are compatible with it. So they actually reverse engineered to understand how they can make games compatible with it, so they could work with it. So that was found to be allowable. And what the key is that you can jailbreak if you're trying to make a product that is compatible with it. There are some other requirements. There are some other exceptions as well. I'm not going to go into that right now, but just know that if you're doing it to try to get some sort of make your device interoperable with the actual jailbreak device, that should be okay. But you need to be careful with that, because if you're just jailbreaking to get the information to compete against them, that's going to be a problem with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Another thing you got to think about is if you're reverse engineering, if you're getting information from someone who is under a non-disclosure agreement, that could be a problem. You could be actually in violation of trade secret law. So you need to make sure that when you're getting information from somebody else, you need to make sure that they're not in violation of a non-compete agreement, because you could actually have an issue for yourself. Actually, again, the Supreme Court has held that you can actually get access to a trade secret if you do so in a legitimate and fair and honest means. That's the Supreme Court is actually a case which is Kawani Oil versus Bicron. That's a case back in 1974 which said that. So you can actually get the trade secrets by non-nefarious means, or in other words, fair and honest means. Another thing you need to be careful about is if you purchase a product, for example, a software, and there's an end user licensing agreement, that could be an issue for you as well. You need to make sure that if you're going to be doing reverse engineering on software that you're purchasing, that there's no agreements, that you don't sign something that says you're not going to do that. So be careful. All right. In summary, be careful. Think about doing a freedom to operate search before you actually thinking about trying to reverse engineer products. Think about the boundaries. Think about what you're doing. Review the contracts about what you sign, or someone that you're working with has signed, so that you don't run afoul to those contracts and cause yourself some problems. And then finally, try to talk to an attorney. They're maybe able to help you decide what you can and cannot do, so you can minimize your risk and you can compete in the marketplace fairly. My name is Derek Fahey. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, have a great day. Thanks.